Welcome to Noosa Museum Historical Video Series, where we unearth some hidden gems from our region's colourful past. Mention any of the world's iconic railways: Stockton-Darlington, Great Western, Canadian Pacific, Orient Express, and you get a sense of history, of the growth of nations, the emergence of revolutions, the rise and fall of empires. Railways accompanied the taming of wilderness, they stitched together the fabric of a nation. This was no less the case in Australia, but we don't always allot our historic railways the stature they deserve. Queensland's first mainline railway, Ipswich to Biggs Camp, opened in 1865. It barely resonates in our consciousness. But before long, unexpected events began to shape Queensland's future.
Gold. The word rang out across the colonies and the world beyond when James Nash struck gold at Gympie in 1867. In doing so, Nash won a £3,000 prize and eternal gratitude from the impoverished Queensland government. The government, desperate for an economic stimulus, hoped a gold strike might do the trick. It worked. Before long, the bustling Nashville township, later renamed Gympie, arose from the scrub. A railway from Brisbane to Gympie was a distant dream. You could pack your swag and walk, or, if you had already made a bob or two, there was the stagecoach. Either was an arduous journey over rough roads. A better alternative emerged: coastal steamer to Noosa, ferry to Tewantin, then overland to Gympie. Thus the Noosa River became part of the highway for prospectors heading for the Gympie goldfields.
Noosa River was a busy waterway in the 19th century, as it is today. In 1870, when timber getting was a thriving industry in the headwaters, a steam-driven sawmill opened at Alander Point, also known as Mill Point, on Lake Cootharaba. As the bullock trails became increasingly boggy, the owners built a narrow-gauge tramway along a ridge line from the mill to the logging operations. Jinkers were loaded with logs in the scrubs and pulled to the sawmill by horses, initially on timber rails, later upgraded to iron rails. The owners also developed a shipping service, using flat-bottomed paddle steamers known as drogers, which towed punts of sawn timber to Tewantin to be loaded onto the steamer, Colgoa, bound for Brisbane. Noosa Museum houses an intricate model of the Mill Point settlement, including the tramway.
Over time, railways sprouted from various ports along our coastline, extending inland to connect with mining and pastoral hubs. But the pioneers of our region were often forced to endure a lengthy wait for their much-needed railway. The mainline railway serving the district started out as disjointed segments. By the 1890s, Cooroy had been linked to Gympie, Maryborough and Bundaberg, whilst Yandina had been linked to Brisbane. In between, there was a steep climb up the range at Eumundi and a dirt track to get you over it. The gap was finally filled in 1891. The railways weren't immune from disaster. The locomotive collision happened in Pomona in 1915. The Traveston Railway disaster of 1925 killed 10 people and injured 40 when the overnight mail train from Brisbane to Rockhampton derailed on the Traveston Creek Bridge.
By mid-1970, steam locomotion was at an end, watering and coal facilities vanished, the signalling system was overhauled and road crossing gates were replaced by booms, doing away with gatekeepers. The railway department began electrifying the rail system and selling off railway property. In Pomona, the last remaining employee, the station master, finished duty in mid-1991. The station master's residence is now the Pomona Community House, the old railway station and art gallery.
If you haven't already discovered the museum's YouTube channel, where there's a whole lot more videos, our website has a link to it. You can find out more at noosamuseum.org or on the Facebook page Noosa Shire Museum.